Do you own a boat? Does anyone in your family own a boat? Have you ever thought about trying something new? It's becoming springtime now and it's lake weather. It's time for water sports, and my favorite water sport, wakeboarding. I'm now going to explain to you 4 major points that I think every wakeboarder or new beginner should know. Which would be, number 1, the brief history of wakeboarding, the basic safety of wakeboarding, the basic steps of wakeboarding, and the more advanced ways. I'm going to tell you about the brief history of wakeboarding. It's very complex, but I'm going to brief it down. According to World Wakeboarding Association, it was called surfing in the mid-1980s. Skiers from New Zealand and Australia combined snowboarding and 2 water sports. And a guy named Paul Frazier made the first lightweight wakeboard and coined the term wakeboarding. Although those are some interesting facts, I believe it's time for the more important aspects of wakeboarding. Safety. Number 1, it would be a life jacket. You have to make sure you have to have a life jacket before you enter the water on a wakeboard or any water sport. You never know if you might not get knocked out when you fall or hit an object. Number 2, a spotter, so that he can tell you if there is any objects around and if there's any oncoming boats, and tell the driver if you're okay or if you have fallen off. And number 3, if you ever run into an advanced wakeboarder, listen to what he has to say. He might know tips and safety tips that you might not have thought of or experienced. After the basic safety, I'd like to tell you some elementary steps of wakeboarding. These are your binds. This is where you put your feet in, you make sure that they're very buckled, and so you can control your board. On your first deep water start, keep calm, don't get frustrated, practice makes perfect, and you'll get up there. But if you're a beginner, I would recommend a shorter rope, preferably 30 to 50 feet, and make sure the boat driver knows the correct speed, which would be 14 to 19 miles per hour. Now for the more technical aspects after you learn how to get up on your wakeboard. The number 1 mistake that beginners tend to have is holding your tow rope perpendicular to the water. The right way would be holding your palms down towards the water and hold the rope closer to your pointer hip. After you learn to balance and standing up on wakeboarding, now it's time for the turning left and right. Once you're leaning back, if you want to turn left, point your leading foot to the left. If you want to turn right, point your leading foot to the right. After you learn the left and right, and standing up, of course, you can do some research on some crazy tricks or impressing people. You can do that by looking on DVDs, magazines, YouTube, anything that there's a lot of enormous tricks that you can try. I hope I put a thought in your head about trying this extreme sport called wakeboarding, and it's fun and very active. I love the sport. I got into it a couple years ago. It's the points that I love to do that makes me want to wakeboard and teach more people how to wakeboard. But hey, I'll see you out there.